Hi there, Cancer. Welcome to your end of November 2019 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. As I was saying that, I was just kind of looking at the cards because I've been getting some reverse cards, which is fine, but I just don't want to, I just want to make sure. Yeah, there's whole big clumps of cards here that are upside down, so... I was arranging all of my cards the other day because I have two decks that are exactly alike, except one is glossy and one isn't. And I wanted to just organize them. And anyway, let's see here. As I was saying, okay. So, let me think. I was trying to see if there was an astrological trigger, because I'm seeing something with an inheritance. I don't know if that's true with the Ten of Pentacles. The placement of that Ten of Pentacles is in the spiritual message, though, which is kind of interesting, because usually I will not read that as a literal card, you know, talking about what is happening. But based on other elements here, we do have a few cards that are connected to drama, to personal attack, like you feel under siege. This card can even be like being very wary of, you know, watching your back, anticipating somebody, you know, trying to worm their way back in. And as I have been saying, we are still under Mercury retrograde until the 20th of the month, and then there's still the shadow period afterwards, where Mercury hasn't gotten back to its full strength. Now, so that can still affect, and that can be in the area of people coming back into your life who maybe you thought you weren't going to see again, and or just these situations repeating themselves. The Ten of Pentacles in the top right is a card of family money, or it can be. It is the inheritance card. So I'm thinking about these people. The Five of Swords, you know, there's several people in the background. This can be an empty victory, where the person gains something, but at others' expense. Now, this is in the reverse position, so we could even say that it's more extreme, where it really is, there's chaos in this personal relationship. I'll give you an example. And this could be something where you are the one who gets an inheritance from a family, from, let's say, a parent, because those are the ones that it really hits home the most. And let's say you had a parent who was a narcissist, and that parent favored you. You were the golden child. You were the one that they always bragged about. They gave you special privileges, you know, the whole 9 yards. Obviously, even if you knew that you were being treated differently, because you knew about the dysfunction, it's not that you didn't know that it was all wrong, but you were just relieved that you were not the one bearing the brunt of it. And so you went along with the program, maybe because it was benefiting you. And now something is coming out, perhaps, about deception. Now that this is in the reverse position, this can be like that you're holding their swords, or they've dropped their swords, but you're holding like 3 of them. And there's that, the other thing too is the smile on the face. The person is like, I have what they want, or I have the upper hand. But it's like, at what price? And why? Why is the person smug about it? Is it because they have kind of been trained to act in this way, and they just have gone along and done what they were programmed to do? So in the past position, we have the Page of Cups, and this is connected to Pisces in particular. This can be some kind of a new relationship, or I'm trying to think of something else. It can even involve like a child. And maybe that's another piece in this, that if this was kind of like family money, that because you had the child, you got even more money. And that created bad blood, because that was an excuse that this parent used to justify the unfairness of it. Is that, hey, this person has a child, but it was really because of something else. That was just an excuse. But the Page of Cups can also be something where there's a new relationship being forged between, maybe somebody comes to you and wants that. I mean, if you, for instance, a sibling or something like that, even in like the workplace, the 5 of Swords in reverse, as well as the 5 of Swords upright, can be something that is, a toxic environment. Maybe there's a lot of, backbiting. People who are phony to somebody's face, and then behind their back, they're saying terrible things about them. And with the Page of Cups and the like in the past position, that might even be receiving some kind of word from somebody that is very heartfelt, a client, a customer who really believes in you, and that gives you that sense that you're deserving of more than this. Because the Ten of Pentacles, that's why I was thinking too, in the spiritual lesson position, this is like in a card of affluence, and it's kind of like, what do you believe that you deserve? Do you think that you're getting what you deserve, which is illustrated by the 6 of Pentacles, by the way. But the 10 of Pentacles is like that kind of generational wealth that goes from you to your child, and it's because you've been able to build it through that kind of equity, the equitable compensation. But it's interesting because it probably begins with valuing yourself. And here was it. That's why I was saying we had several kinds of conflict cards. And we have the 7 of Wands in the challenge position. And this is the person who's supporting, trying to defend themselves, I should say. And I was just reading somebody on Instagram, and they were quoting, it says, never complain and never defend yourself. And the point is that you're not trying to make a case for your innocence to people that are unfairly accusing you in the first place. You know, with the Seven of Wands, in addition to that Five of Swords, to me it's like character assassination that may be waged against you. But because the Seven of Wands is in the challenge position, you may not be, you may either be, I think that the greater likelihood is that you have become very defensive. Cancers tend to be very like hypersensitive and defensive, where it's kind of like that, you know, the crab going into its shell, like so that it can totally avoid any kind of whiff of humiliation or ridicule or whatever you want to call it. But the thing is that while that's going on, the person is not being, it's almost like being too defensive. You know, some people are like not protecting themselves enough, and they kind of take everything that comes their way, and they don't fight back. And then some people are a little bit too quick to take offense, to do that. And either way, whether, you know, whatever extreme is going on, it's not balanced, and that's why it's in the challenge position. So however, whether you're on either extreme of that, if you're too quick to take offense, or you're not proactive enough, that creates the problem. But you have to understand ultimately that if you're in a situation where you are being attacked either covertly through what the Five of Swords represents, where there may be even like lies being spread about you in the workplace, or if you are somebody who is receiving it in a very direct way, where it's excessive criticism, and you feel that need to kind of push back. Even if you do push back, it's not a good environment. It's not a healthy environment, because it's not honoring you. You're not honoring you, and they're not honoring you. They're not getting you. They don't think that you're good enough, or they're just trying to imply that so they can either pay you less than you deserve. And that's what I'm wondering too, if it's if it was that you were expecting a raise, and it's because of covert actions, or maybe, what do they call it, slanderous actions, by, you know, kind of like co-workers who are very sketchy, that they ended up hindering your ability to get a raise. And so maybe you're too invested in the drama of it, you know, whatever's going on, and you just need to move on when the time is right. What's coming in, the advice, is the Nine of Wands. And this is that card, and you look at that person's expression, they're like, and the other thing that's funny about it is that he's really clutching that wand. And it's kind of like the guard at the gate, that guarding your heart, guarding your thing. And if this is, you know, I didn't say anything about relationships. Maybe there was a Pisces person that you know, are involved with, and something is not quite right. There might be some kind of like cheating and things like that. And the Ten of Pentacles, to me, in that interpretation, is about a solid family. And if you are looking for somebody, perhaps because you want to start a family, for instance, and you're with somebody you can't trust, there's no sense to that whatsoever, because you're always going to be like this person. You're always going to be suspicious. You're always going to be, and you know what could be happening too. This is one of the things I should say too, is because if there's somebody in your, whatever the situation is, where they are assassinating your character, they're doing it for their own gain. And they may try to make you feel like you're not good enough, but they're doing that so that they can get away with what they're doing. And this is where you have to, it's your responsibility to see that and not tolerate it in your life. Because somebody like that, if you think that they're going to change, that probably isn't very wise. Okay, so my jacked up thing, I shouldn't have even touched it, but it was kind of askew. Well, it's a little bit askew, but I'm almost done here. So this can also be, waiting for the next shoe to drop. Maybe you suspect that something is up. And that could be another thing too, where maybe the people in the office are treating you weird. Like, it seems like they're all talking behind your back, and you're afraid that you're going to be the one that gets, the boot. And I think I have a feeling that that feeling and that behavior is quite familiar to a lot of people, where they feel like they're out of the loop and that other people are in the office. It's almost like they're plotting against them, and it makes you feel very paranoid. But isn't there a saying, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean that people aren't plotting against you or something like that. And it's so funny, because it's true. So the Nine of Wands is also about boundaries. And those boundaries, a lot of people think that if you set boundaries that you have to declare it from a mountaintop. But actually, I think that the most effective boundaries are private within yourself. That you're not going to even tell people what the boundaries are. You have this resolution. Okay, like you meet a new friend, and if this person does X, Y, or Z, I'm going to do this, and if they do it again, that's it. I'm realizing that they're not really my friend. Things like that, where you're not tipping them off because you want to see how they're going to act. So this may be what's going on with you. And then you get here as the outcome, the Ace of Wands. This is a real card of independence and declaring your independence. I actually just did a reading for Gemini, and it was kind of a similar thing, although this card was in a different position. So it's probably something that's been a long time coming, whether it's a relationship or a job situation where you've had it up to here, and it's probably been affecting you, and you finally, it's dawning on you that you don't have to take it. You can actually do something different, and maybe even that the universe is nudging you to start your own business. A lot of cardinal signs, I think, fare better working for themselves. And there are exceptions to that, like everything else in life, but one of the main reasons is because you really do have the gumption. Well, no, that's not the right word, but you have the impetus to start things. I mean, actually, the Ace of Wands is something I would associate with all the cardinal signs. And the real holdup is that the other people, there's a saying, it's not the job, it's the people. It's like this, maybe it's, more than one person. Just because some people, they don't have that vision for themselves, and all they can do is create drama. The Swords is about drama. And the Wands, and you have 3 of them, is about independence and creativity. And that's something, even the Page of Cups, that can be something that is a new beginning, that, you know, starting something new that is a creative endeavor. So, very interesting. Okay, well, Cancer, I hope that some of this resonated with you. And if you'd like a personal reading, you can check me out. The link is in the description box. And I hope that you have a great rest of November. Take care. Bye.